She thought she had finally escaped the streets. After years of sleeping under bridges, begging for food, and burying every trace of her past, a woman in high heels gave her warmth, new clothes, and promises of a better life. But behind the polished doors, behind a kind smile, was a secret so disturbing no one would believe it if she spoke. She wasn't taken to a home, she was delivered to a business, and her first client had 4 legs. This is not just a story of poverty, it's a story of deception, of betrayal, and of a girl forced to choose between dignity and survival. Before we dive in, hit that like button if you're ready for the truth they don't want told. Subscribe if you're new to this journey of shocking truths and poetic justice. Sit back and let's get into it. Kambili had not eaten in 2 days. The last thing she tasted was a pinch of gari soaked with rainwater scraped from the bottom of an empty tin. Her stomach grumbled like a warning drum, not from hunger alone, but from the ache of shame. She sat beneath a faded market umbrella near Upper Iweka in Onitsha, hugging her knees to her chest as traders packed their goods for the night. Her hair was tangled. Her wrapper was soaked. She hadn't slept properly in weeks. They called her the cursed child. Ever since her father died on a motorcycle while returning from the farm, and her mother followed months later, taken by sickness or maybe sorrow, people treated her like dust on their slippers. Her uncles had stripped her father's land and sold it, then told her to find somewhere else to cry. So she came to Onitsha, not because it was safe, but because it was loud enough to drown her pain. Here, no one cared who she was, or so she thought. She tried everything, hawking ground nuts, washing plates in buka kitchens, even offering to carry loads at the motor park. The little money she earned vanished before sunset. When she asked a woman for leftover akara one day, the woman slapped her and accused her of being a thief. That night, Kambili slept beside a parked trailer, her eyes wide open, heart pounding from the memory of 2 boys who tried to drag her into an alley. She had escaped, but just barely. On the 3rd night, the rain came, not the kind that cooled the air. This one came like a punishment, cold, angry, unforgiving. Her wrapper clung to her skin, her teeth chattered like broken keys, and in that moment, shivering, soaked, and silent, Kambili cried, not for food or shelter, but for death. "Mama," she whispered, "if you can hear me, please come and carry me. This world is too hard." A black car slowed down in front of her. She didn't look up at first. Cars came and went all the time, but this one didn't move. It parked. The window rolled down. A woman leaned out. Her voice was soft, her tone curious. "My dear, why are you sitting here in the rain?" Kambili looked up slowly, afraid to speak. The woman stepped out. She was tall, dressed in a flowing gown, her heels clicking against the wet pavement. Her face was beautiful, too beautiful to be real, and her perfume floated through the air like warm smoke. "You don't have anywhere to go?" she asked. Kambili shook her head. The woman sighed. "What's your name?" "Kambili." "How old are you?" 16. The woman looked her up and down with eyes that didn't judge. She removed her shawl and wrapped it around Kambili's shoulders. Then she smiled. "My name is Sister Vera. I live in Abuja. I help girls like you." Kambili blinked. "Abuja?" "Yes, a beautiful place. Clean air, soft beds. You won't have to sleep outside again." Vera reached into her bag and brought out a flask. "Drink," she said. Kambili hesitated, then took it. Warm tea. Real tea. "Come with me," Vera said. "I'll take care of you." Kambili's mind raced. Could she trust this woman? She had heard stories, girls trafficked, bodies never found. But then again, what was she risking? She had nothing. If this was a trap, maybe it was better than the slow death of hunger. "Don't be afraid," Vera said, as if reading her thoughts. "I was once like you, until someone gave me a chance." Kambili nodded slowly. The next morning, they were on a bus to Abuja. Kambili sat by the window, staring at the trees as they passed. Her fingers clutched the hem of her new dress, clean, colorful, soft. She had bathed. She had eaten. Her belly was warm for the first time in weeks. As the vehicle moved farther from the familiar chaos of Onitsha and deeper into the stillness of distant towns, Kambili felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: hope. She didn't know where exactly in Abuja they were going, but Sister Vera said it was a special home for girls, a place of opportunity, a fresh start. And after everything she had endured, Kambili told herself she deserved one. She didn't know that by the time she arrived in Abuja, her life would never be the same again. She didn't know that the woman sitting beside her had done this before. She didn't know that the greatest dangers often come wrapped in kindness, and that sometimes the deadliest predators wear perfume. They arrived in Abuja late in the afternoon. The bus terminal buzzed with life. Hawkers shouting, Okadas weaving through traffic, travelers hauling heavy bags with tired eyes. But none of that noise reached Kambili's heart. She was too busy staring at the wide roads, the tall buildings, the way the air smelled like soap and cement instead of gutter water. Abuja was nothing like Onitsha. It was clean, organized, and intimidating. She stayed close to Sister Vera, clutching her small nylon bag filled with all her belongings, a wrapper, one blouse, and the shawl Vera had given her. Vera called a driver who arrived in a sleek black SUV. The driver didn't speak. He only nodded, opened the door, and drove them through winding roads lined with trees and gates taller than Kambili had ever seen. They passed clusters of estates, iron fences with electric wires, houses that looked like they were pulled out of television screens. Eventually, they entered a large estate through a guarded gate. The security men at the post simply waved the car through. No questions, just respect. That was the first thing that made Kambili feel something wasn't right. When they pulled up to the house, Kambili looked around in wonder. The mansion stood tall and quiet, painted in cream and white, with hedges trimmed to perfection. But what struck her most was the absence of windows. Instead of glass panes, there were only white curtains covering wide, empty wall spaces, thick, flowing drapes that never fluttered, not even with the breeze. The house felt too silent, too perfect. "This is where you'll be staying," Vera said, smiling as the driver took Kambili's bag. They entered through large doors into a foyer that smelled of polish and lavender. Marble floors reflected the soft yellow lighting. Everything was beautiful, cold but beautiful. Kambili noticed cameras in the corners of the ceilings, small and barely visible, but present. Vera gave her a quick tour of the house. The sitting room with velvet couches, the silent dining hall, the corridor that stretched too far without any windows. Then she led her upstairs to a room with a soft pink bed, a wardrobe full of clothes, and a private bathroom. "You'll sleep here," Vera said. "Clean up. Dinner is in 1 hour." Kambili barely knew how to react. She nodded, and when Vera left, she closed the door, walked to the bed, and sat down. It felt like a dream. The bed sheets smelled like flowers. The air conditioner hummed gently. For the first time in months, she felt like a girl again. Not a stray, not a curse, just a girl. She took a long bath, watching the dirt melt off her body, then wore one of the gowns she found in the wardrobe, a blue dress that made her look like someone else entirely. When she came down for dinner, she found 4 other girls already seated. All of them were dressed nicely. All of them had straight faces, no smiles, no greetings, just silence. The food was rich, jollof rice, goat meat, chilled juice. Kambili ate quickly, eyes darting around. Vera sat at the head of the table, eating calmly, like a queen. After dinner, the girls stood and left one by one. Kambili stood to follow, but Vera stopped her. "Sit, my dear," she said gently. Kambili obeyed. Vera placed her spoon down, wiped her mouth, and turned to her. "Do you like it here?" Kambili nodded. "Good. You deserve comfort. You've suffered enough." Kambili lowered her gaze. "Thank you, Ma." Vera smiled. "Soon you'll start earning your place here. It's nothing difficult. You just need to cooperate. We'll talk more in the morning." Kambili swallowed hard. "What kind of work is it?" Vera's eyes lingered on her. "You'll see. It's easy. You won't have to go outside. You'll even make money." Kambili's heart pounded. Something about the way Vera said it made her skin crawl. But she nodded again. Vera dismissed her. That night, Kambili lay on the soft bed and stared at the ceiling. Sleep didn't come easy. She heard noises, doors opening and closing, faint footsteps, muffled crying. At one point, the lights in the corridor turned red for a few minutes. Then everything went dark again. The next morning, the girls were taken into different rooms. Kambili stayed in hers until Vera summoned her to a small lounge with a long mirror and white furniture. Vera sat her down. "You're a beautiful girl, Kambili, and untouched. That's very important." Kambili looked confused. "Untouched? You've never been with a man." Kambili's cheeks burned. She nodded slowly. "Good," Vera said. "That means you're valuable. Our clients like innocence. It's part of the work." Kambili blinked. "What kind of clients?" "Important people, politicians, business owners. They like performances. It's all safe. No one will touch you. They'll just observe." Kambili's heart began to race. "What do you mean by performances?" Vera stood and paced. "You'll be with animals, well-trained, calm, clean. Don't panic. You'll be rewarded. You could make more money in one night than some people earn in a year." Kambili stood up immediately. I'm not doing that." Vera turned slowly. "Sit down." "No." Kambili's voice shook. "I want to go home." "Which home?" Vera snapped, stepping closer. "The gutter you crawled out from? Or the trailer parks where men almost took you? You were begging to die when I found you." Kambili's knees buckled. She sat. Vera softened again. "I'm not your enemy. I'm your helper. Don't throw away your chance." Kambili said nothing. She stared at the floor. Vera sighed. "You'll think about it. But let me be clear. No one leaves this house unless I say so." That night, Kambili tried to leave. She crept downstairs after midnight, barefoot, her heart pounding. But when she opened the main door, 2 armed guards were waiting. They didn't say anything, just looked at her until she stepped back inside and closed the door. The next 2 days, she was given no food. Her door was locked from outside. Her phone, if she ever had one, was long gone. On the 3rd morning, Vera visited her room. Kambili was curled in bed, weak and shaking. Vera brought a bowl of rice and set it down. "You're not the first girl to resist," she said calmly, "but you'll learn. Hunger teaches faster than fear." Kambili said nothing. Vera stood. "If you cooperate, you'll eat. If not, you'll rot here. It's your choice." When Vera left, Kambili crawled to the bowl. Her pride was thin, her hope thinner. She ate. That night, she sat on the edge of her bed and stared at the thick curtain covering where a window should have been. No breeze, no sound from the outside world, just silence. A silence too heavy for a home. And in that silence, Kambili realized something with finality. She wasn't in a shelter. She was in a cage, and the woman who rescued her didn't save her. She bought her, just like the others. 3 days later, Kambili's door opened at dawn. She hadn't slept. Hunger had folded her into herself, and the silence of the house had become a second skin. Vera entered dressed in white lace, her face calm, her perfume stronger than ever. She walked over and placed a plastic bag on the bed. Inside, a gown, heels, a small bottle of lotion, and a toothbrush. "You have a client today," she said, voice flat. "You're going to be a big girl now." Kambili didn't respond. Her eyes were blank, her body hollow. Vera crouched beside her and touched her shoulder. "Eat something, bathe, fix your hair. He's paying $10 million for you. You'll make history." She stood and left. Kambili stared at the bag. Something inside her screamed to resist, to fight. But another part of her was already dead, buried in that locked room with no food, no light, no air. She rose slowly, like someone waking from a grave. She bathed, brushed her teeth, and wore the gown, thin, red, too tight across her chest. The heels made her legs wobble. A guard came to escort her out. She was led through the back of the mansion into a different car, a white Prado with tinted windows. The driver didn't speak. She sat in silence, the belt cutting across her ribs as the car moved deeper into Abuja, away from the estate she had once admired, toward hills thick with trees and silence. They arrived at another compound. This one had higher fences, electric wires, and more guards. Cameras blinked at the gate. The car drove in and stopped before a house shaped like a temple. White pillars, black roof, no sign of life. Kambili was led in through the side door. The interior smelled like bleach and lavender. The tiles were polished to a mirror shine. Her heels clicked as she was taken to a room at the end of the corridor. The guard opened the door. Inside was a white room. Nothing else. Just a mattress in the center, white walls, white ceiling, white floor. Cameras were positioned in each corner. A large glass window stood behind one wall. She could sense someone was watching from behind it. The guard gestured. "Enter!" She stepped in. The door closed behind her with a soft hiss. She stood in the middle of the room, unsure. Minutes passed. Then a soft bell rang. The opposite door opened. 2 large dogs walked in, German shepherds, trained and silent. Her mouth fell open. Her legs moved backward. A voice came through a speaker in the ceiling. "Remove the dress." She froze. Her breathing grew wild. "Please," she whispered, "I'm not an animal." "Neither are they," the voice replied. "We pay well." Kambili fell to her knees. "Please, I'll clean, I'll cook, anything else." "You agreed," the voice said. "You ate, you dressed, you accepted." Her mouth opened to protest, but nothing came. She looked up at the camera. She wanted to scream, but her throat was dry. The dogs inched closer, trained and patient. The speaker fell silent, and then the lights dimmed. In the white silence, she broke. When it was over, the door opened. 2 women in gloves entered. They helped her up, didn't speak, didn't look her in the eye. They took her to a shower, handed her a robe. She washed for an hour, scrubbing her skin until it bled. But nothing came off. Not the shame, not the memory, not the betrayal. When she was dressed, they gave her a brown envelope. Inside was 5 million naira, cash. Her name was written on the outside in block letters. She stared at it like it was cursed. She didn't touch it. A guard collected it and led her back to the car. The driver returned her to Vera's mansion. The compound seemed smaller now, the flowers less colorful, the air too clean to be real. Vera waited in the living room, sipping tea. She looked up as Kambili entered. "Well done," she said gently. "You made your first real money." Kambili dropped onto the sofa, staring at nothing. Vera rose, walked over, and brushed her hair behind her ear. "You're stronger than you know." Kambili didn't reply. Her hands trembled, her eyes burned, but no tears came. Vera nodded, as if she understood. "Go and rest. Tomorrow, we'll talk about what comes next." Kambili stood, walked to her room, and locked the door. She collapsed on the floor. No one knocked. No one called her. She lay there till morning. When the sun rose, it did not rise for her. Days passed. She stopped counting them. She heard other girls leave. New ones arrived. The mansion moved like a silent machine, clean, cold, efficient. Kambili didn't eat much. She spoke to no one. Vera didn't push her for another job. She was being allowed to rot slowly. And then one day, a girl knocked on her door. Her name was Isioma, older, taller. Her eyes were heavy, like they'd carried too many secrets. "You're new," she said softly. Kambili nodded. "They gave you the dogs first, didn't they?" Kambili looked up. Her lips parted, but no words came. Isioma nodded. "Same with me. If you survive the dogs, they know you're ready for the real ones." Kambili shivered. "Real ones?" "Men, politicians, clients who don't just watch. They pay extra to mark you, to record you, for something they call ritual documentation." "Ritual?" Isioma glanced at the camera in the corner, then leaned in. "They use the videos for blood wealth, not just for selling. The pain, the innocence, it's part of the sacrifice." Kambili's breath caught. "You're lying." "I wish I was." Isioma stood. "Eat something. You'll need strength. They don't let anyone go, not until you go through the white door." "What's the white door?" Isioma looked away. "The last door, where they send the girls who fight back too much, or those who are too valuable to keep around. No girl comes back from it." She left. Kambili sat on the bed, heartbeat pounding. Vera hadn't spoken to her in days. The silence was no longer peaceful. It was loaded, like a countdown. That night, Kambili stared at the wardrobe and thought about running again. But there was nowhere to go. Abuja was too big. The house was too secure, and Vera was always watching. In her bones, Kambili knew something worse was coming, something final, and this time she wouldn't survive it. It was on a night without stars that Kambili saw her again, Isioma, standing silently in the hallway near the staircase, eyes fixed on the far wall. Her gown was torn at the sleeve. Her lip was swollen. No one else was around, no guards, no cameras in sight. Kambili approached her slowly, heart heavy. "Where do they take the girls after the third job?" she asked. Isioma didn't turn. "They stop being girls after the third job." Kambili frowned. "You said something about a white door." Isioma nodded once, eyes still forward. "There's a room at the far end of the compound. No one talks about it. When a girl enters, she doesn't return. No sound, no goodbye, just silence." Kambili's chest tightened. "Why?" "Some say it's for rituals. Others say it's organ trade. Some say they film the final suffering for the highest bidders abroad. I don't know the truth anymore." She finally turned, and her eyes, those ancient broken eyes, settled on Kambili's face. "But I know one thing. Once Vera gives you white to wear again, run." Kambili nodded slowly, her hands cold. "How long have you been here?" 2 years, Isioma whispered. "I tried to escape once. That's how I ended up like this." She lifted her left arm. There was a faint scar around her wrist, thin, pink, and deep. They used chains, not ropes. A lump formed in Kambili's throat. "Why haven't they sent you through the white door?" "Because I'm useful. The chairman likes me. I don't fight anymore. I just exist." Kambili looked around. The hallway was still empty. A thought sparked in her mind. Desperate, dangerous, wild. "Is there a way out?" Isioma blinked slowly. "The back kitchen has an old delivery hatch. Too small for the bigger girls, but you're still small, quiet, fast. If you have help, maybe." "Help from who?" Isioma hesitated, then leaned close. "Andre? He's a guard. Not like the others. He's new. He looks away when he should report. He leaves water by the chained room. He still has a soul." "How do I talk to him?" Isioma sighed. "You don't. He finds you, and only when he's sure you're ready." Kambili said nothing. That night, she didn't sleep. Her mind replayed Isioma's words over and over. The mansion no longer felt silent. It felt watchful. The walls breathed, the corridors whispered, and in every creak of the floorboards she heard time running out. 2 days later, during breakfast, she saw him, Andre. He was by the corridor, pretending to check the electric box. Young, maybe 24, slim, eyes that didn't match the coldness of the place. Their gazes met for a moment. Nothing was said, but something passed between them, an understanding. That night, Kambili found a small folded note under her pillow. No name, no greeting, just 5 words written in shaky biro. "Tomorrow night. Kitchen. Be ready." Her pulse quickened. She hid the note under the mattress and spent the next day in silence, trying not to show the storm inside her. She forced herself to eat, to sit calmly, to nod when Vera asked if she was okay. "You've been quiet lately," Vera said, sipping from her teacup. "Are you ready for your second job?" Kambili smiled weakly. "I think so." Vera nodded in approval. "You're adjusting well. That's good. Obedience is a sign of maturity." Kambili lowered her eyes. That night, she wore soft shoes, no jewelry, no noise. She tiptoed through the hallway and slipped into the kitchen, heart pounding. Andre was already there, standing by the back door. He handed her a small black pouch. Inside, pepper spray, blade, and 1 bullet. You only get 1 shot. "A bullet?" she whispered. "A pistol. Tiny. In the pouch. Hide it in your underwear. Use it if they catch you. Not for show, for survival." "Why are you helping me?" Andre's jaw tightened. "My sister disappeared in 2021. Her friend said a woman named Vera picked her up in Lagos. I've been searching since." Kambili blinked. "You think she—" "I don't know, but I see what happens here, and I can't unsee it." He opened the old delivery hatch. It led to a bushy ravine behind the compound. Crawl out, run straight, no stopping. When you reach the tarred road, turn left. There's a small church compound. Knock. They'll shelter you. I've spoken to the night guard. What about you? Don't worry about me. Kambili nodded, eyes burning. Thank you. He looked at her one last time. Go. She dropped to her knees, pushed the bag ahead, and began to crawl. The tunnel smelled of dust, old blood, and secrets. But it was freedom. The air outside was damp and cold. Grass brushed her legs. Branches clawed at her arms. She ran. The mansion disappeared behind her like a fading nightmare. She didn't look back. She just ran. Kambali's breath burned in her throat as she ran through the bush path, thorns slicing her legs, branches snapping against her face. The silence of the compound was replaced by the buzzing of insects and the distant howl of dogs. Every crunch beneath her feet sounded like an alarm. She clutched the pouch tightly against her chest, the weight of the pistol pressing against her ribs like a warning. Her legs threatened to collapse, but she kept going, driven by something stronger than fear, desperation. The tarred road appeared like a river of salvation ahead. She stumbled onto it barefoot, bleeding and gasping. The night was still. A distant generator hummed. Somewhere behind her, voices rose, distant shouts, dogs barking. They'd discovered the escape. She turned left and ran, the wind slicing through her gown. The road curved. Then she saw it, a small church compound, gated, quiet, with a flickering yellow bulb above the entrance. She banged on the gate, fists frantic. Help! Please, open! A man in security uniform appeared, eyes wide. Who be this? Andre sent me, she cried. Please! He stared at her for a moment, then unbolted the gate and pulled her in. Quick! She collapsed inside, panting. He locked the gate, drew the curtains on the guard post, and handed her water. Stay here. Hide under the bench. I'll call someone. She nodded, trembling. Her mind spun. Every creak of wood made her flinch. But no one came for her that night. She woke the next morning to the smell of bread and tea. A woman in a nurse's gown knelt beside her. You're safe now, she said softly. We're taking you somewhere secure. Who are you? My name is Amara. We run a women's shelter. Andre told us you might come. Kambili was taken to a small compound in Garki, walled, quiet, with other women inside, some young, some old, all broken in different ways. There, she slept for 2 days straight. When she woke, Amara sat beside her with a notepad. Tell me everything. And Kambili did. From the market reign to the white room. From the dogs to the bullet hidden in her waistband. Amara listened, not once interrupting. When Kambili finished, the woman took a deep breath. You're not the only one, she said. There have been whispers, girls vanishing, families threatened, but no one had a witness brave enough to speak. Kambili swallowed. Will they come for me? They'll try, but not if we move fast. The next day, Amara took her to the CID headquarters. 2 officers, both in plain clothes, recorded her statement. They asked for names, dates, locations. She gave them everything. Vera, Chairman, Isioma, Andre, the compound, the white room, the dogs, the bullet, the money, everything. The officers were stunned. One of them stepped outside and made a call. Within hours, a raid was organized. Kambili was moved to a safe house. That night, at 2 a.m., the police stormed Vera's mansion. The guards were caught off guard. 2 men were shot while trying to flee. Vera was arrested in her nightgown, screaming about her business empire and powerful clients. In the basement, they found 3 girls, chained, weak, 1 unconscious. Isioma wasn't among them. The officers searched every room, every corridor. In the ritual chamber, behind the white door, they found a tiled room with red stains, whips, and cameras. A freezer held 2 bags labeled product. No one wanted to open them. Chairman was gone. The driver was gone. The mansion had been emptied of hard drives. Someone had tipped them off. But the girls they saved were enough to begin. The press exploded. Underage girl escapes Abuja sex ritual mansion. Rescue operation uncovers secret trafficking ring. Who is Sister Vera? From church donor to predator. Kambili's face was never shown. Her name was changed in reports. But her story spread like wildfire. International groups got involved. Investigations opened. Petitions signed. A manhunt for chairman began. But he was a ghost. Slippery, connected, untouchable. For now. Vera was arraigned in court. She denied everything, called Kambili a liar. But the footage from her home, what remained, spoke louder than her mouth. Girls testified. Andre came forward. Nurses, guards, drivers, even Isioma's cousin, who'd been searching for her for years. Kambili sat in the courtroom once, behind tinted glass, watching Vera cry. It didn't move her. Not after what she'd seen. Not after what she'd survived. The case dragged. Power tried to protect itself. But truth had found a voice, and that voice was no longer afraid. Months passed. Kambili began to heal, not just her body, but her soul. She braided the hair of other girls in the shelter. She helped Amara sweep. She laughed again, slowly. One afternoon, a reporter came to speak with the shelter director. Kambili watched from a window. The woman's face was kind, her camera gentle. She approached Kambili softly. "They say you were the first to escape," she said. "The one who spoke." Kambili nodded. "Do you want to say anything to the world?" Kambili looked at the lens. Her voice was quiet. "Be careful who offers you kindness with no reason. Sometimes the devil wears perfume." The reporter swallowed hard. "And what do you want now?" Kambili paused. "I want to live." The video aired. Millions watched. Tears flowed. Outrage ignited. Donations poured into the shelter. And slowly, justice began to move. The final scene, Kambili sitting under a mango tree, braiding the hair of a little girl who had just arrived, her eyes wide and scared. Kambili smiled at her, hands gentle. "You're safe now," she whispered. "No one will hurt you again." The sun filtered through the leaves, warming her skin. A breeze passed, light and kind. And for the first time in a long time, Kambili believed it. The nightmare was over. The story would live on, not as a tale of horror, but as a testimony of survival, a modern African folktale of courage, of truth, and of blood that never dried beneath the white door. I hope you enjoyed this story. Please share your thoughts and tell us what you learned in the comment box. We would truly love to read them. And guess what? Another powerful story is coming your way in just a few days. So don't forget to subscribe to this channel, turn on your notification bell, and hit the like button. Most importantly, share this story with your family and friends. Thank you so much for watching.